Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Let's Play Planet Coaster Project Globe Explorer here on Theme Park Worldwide. And yes, I can't believe we're 4 episodes into this series already, but it is finally time to build a roller coaster. Here it is, the lift hill that's just gone into place there for my Mack ride spinning roller coaster that I'm going to be building and also putting the theming in around in this episode. Now I do sound a little bit croaky. We've literally just come back from our trip over to Orlando, Florida. Quite a few of the vlogs have already come online here on Theme Park Worldwide, but there's still loads more to come from me and Charlotte's trip. We had an absolutely amazing time, and I'll talk a little bit more about it later in the episode. But yes, the spinning coaster going into place now. It's a family spinning coaster. It's not an extreme spinning coaster from Mack Rides, so that means it's not going to feature any inversions, but it is going to have some pretty steep drops, a couple of helixes, drops, and various other different elements, like an overbank turn as well. And here you can see it's going down that first drop into a little bit of airtime and then down into a helix back underneath that drop there as well before banking round to the right. But yeah, it should be a really good family coaster. I thought that this would fit in quite nicely with the skyline at the entrance area to the park, and it's been really good reading all the different comments and seeing all the feedback on the previous few episodes. So thank you to everyone that comments on these episodes. It's always great to have a look at what you think to the parks, and of course share your different ideas. This is the part though now where things are really going to start getting interactive, because I want you guys to come up with a name and a story for this coaster what I'm building just here. Like we say, it's a Mack ride spinning coaster, and in terms of the theme that it's going to have, I mean, it's got a generic blue track with black supports there at the moment. You'll see in a few minutes time, once the layout's complete, I do start to change that. But yes, I want you guys to sort of come up with a storyline for this, and I'll talk more about that in a couple of minutes time. But firstly, just continuing here with the layout, of course using the smoothing tool to make sure that it all runs nice and smooth, with it being a Mack coaster. They are very well known for their smooth layouts. As you can see there, that's me just selecting the different areas. That's the good thing with Planet Coaster. You know, you don't have to be an amazing roller coaster builder to sort of build a great ride, you know, because you can use them tools to make sure that it does all look smooth. Obviously, yes, you've still got to have a bit of an idea what you're doing, but you don't have to be an expert at all. I mean, there's some amazing roller coaster builders out there in Planet Coaster. You know me, I've always said it, you know, I don't really concentrate loads on the design of the coasters. I know some people spend days upon days working on different layouts. For me, it's more about the overall experience and the theme of the ride. But of course, I want the coaster to be as realistic as possible as well. And that's an overbank that we're putting in just here. And talking of realism, I wasn't happy with it a few times there. I had to keep looking at it. It's like kind of a bit like a horseshoe element, but not quite as steep. May remind you a little bit of the likes of Spinball Whizzer, Alton Towers, or Dragon's Fury at Chessington. Obviously, they're not Mack, they are Marathon spinning coasters, but you know, we've got a similar sort of idea there with the overbank. I just wanted to make sure that I got that right in there, because the angle just wasn't quite right, whereas I think now it looks better than it did just. Also with this then, you'll see that it's going to have a bit of an extended station just to make sure we can run it with 4 cars to the ride vehicles instead of 3 like it was on Just. So just a little extension to the station, and then we've got this final corner that'll bring it round into a little drop and into the brake run. So it's not the longest of rides, but like I say, it is a family roller coaster. It doesn't need to be ridiculously long. There's going to be another longer family coaster in one of the other different themed areas going into this park. So this was more, I didn't want it to sort of ruin the entrance area and put a massive coaster in what just doesn't fit with it all. You've got to think it is an area all themed around the United Kingdom, and yeah, I thought, you know, if I put in anything too big on this site, it kind of ruined the buildings and the whole sort of grand entrance street if there was a massive coaster towering above it. So you may have noticed whilst I've been building this spinning coaster at various points, I've sort of gone back down to guest level on the actual entrance street, just to make sure that you can't really see it that much. You know, I don't want it to impose that much from the entrance street and from the entrance plaza. That's going to be the job of some of the other rides in the distance, like a hyper coaster that I plan on building at the back of the park. From looking at the comments, it seems like you guys definitely approve of that idea, so I'm going to be doing that. in a future episode, but yeah, I want that to sort of be at the backdrop, and you'll walk down the entrance street and you'll just see the different camelbacks down at the back of the park at the other side of the water. Now the layout's complete, just working on the queue line. I'll be making a few edits to that as I start to put in the building all around the station and queue area, but that's just a bit of an idea, just so you can see where the queue line's going to go, and obviously it gives me more of an idea on the size of the buildings to go around there as well. So before I start to add the theming all around the station and queue area, and then put the landscaping in around the rest of the track, let's take a front row POV here on the spinning coaster so you can see what guests will experience. Bear in mind, with it being a spinning ride, might be quite hard to work out some of the layout, so bear that in mind as we're watching it. Here's a look at the view there from the top of the lift hill. That'll look out towards our downtown Disney style area that we're going to be building and the hotels. First drop there, spinning round. That bit of airtime and bank to the left, back under the track, over the train track there as well. That'll create some really good interaction if the train passes at the same time. Big airtime hill, then up into the overbank. Oh yes, lovely, flows into that really nice actually. A little bit more airtime, then dropping down and into the brake run. Love how it still spins on the brake run there as well until it gets lined up. But yeah, I'm pleased with that, how it looks. Now let's start to talk about the overall theme of this ride, shall we? Because this is really going to be up to you in terms of the storyline for it. I'm going to be putting in the theme in this episode. However, it's going to leave it quite open in terms of the storyline, and you can already probably start to guess what I'm doing here. I'm actually going to build a castle all around this station and queue area, and then put the associated sort of landscaping in all near it with rocks, trees, shrubbery, random bits of theming, that sort of stuff. So yeah, we're going to have a castle. Bear in mind, this is all themed to the United Kingdom. Now, I am open to various different options. Obviously, the entrance street sort of looks very sort of Victorian, a bit of an older style, like old school England, isn't it, really? What I'm thinking is with this, with it all being part of the United Kingdom, why don't we go for maybe this could be a Scottish castle? I mean, it doesn't have to be, but maybe if you've got a good theme suggestion for that, I think it would be really nice to incorporate that to it. You know, and we could maybe use the cars as like the Welsh theme or something like that. Who knows? I mean, anything is possible. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on that, and yeah, get your suggestions coming in. Now, in terms of the stories and things that I want for this, you've got to bear in mind, you know, it's all themed to the different countries around the world, and with this all being the United Kingdom and us being having a lot of like myths and legends and that sort of stuff, I think it'd be really nice if we could base this ride on some sort of haunted sort of legends, but nothing too spooky because it is a family ride. But that's what I'm thinking anyway. It's a castle in the United Kingdom, possibly Scotland, you know, as part of that, you know, and you can go for this sort of theme that sort of relates to that, and maybe you could incorporate why the vehicles are spinning as well. I mean, I was thinking along the lines of maybe some sort of guy who does sort of experiments, you know, and is testing this new sort of contraption which is like spinning ride vehicles, something along those lines. I know you guys are much better than me, so get your suggestions coming in, and in episode 5 next week I'll reveal the name, theme for this coaster. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and get them coming in, and hopefully over the next few minutes, as you see the building all going up here and all the landscaping, you'll start to get a good idea and think, oh, actually yes, we could incorporate this into the story. Just a bit of a colour of the track change there from the blue to a black coloured track, because I just think that fits really nice, and then actually change the supports to like a brown colour, just to fit in with that a little bit more. And because as I was doing this castle station, this is where I started to think, ooh, I think all the viewers on the channel could really come up with a good story for this, and nothing too dark, bear in mind, just, you know, still quite a light sort of spooky theme in terms of, like, you know, we don't want like really dark horror for this, not with it being a family ride. So yeah, get your suggestions coming in. All the queue line there then will actually run through the castle, past the inside, past the outside, and then it'll head into the main part of the station building, of course, where the trains will load and unload there as well. all of the different structures that are going on the exterior of the building here, just for scenic purposes. You're not going to be able to go in them. They're not going to function as restaurants or anything, or shops. Literally just, you know, to make it look fancy, putting in the actual castle, all the like the ramparts and turrets and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I think it's starting to come together quite well. In a few minutes I'll start to put the windows in and that sort of stuff, and then as well I'm going to make this look quite weathered, because you think we've got that beautiful street which is all very pretty, all the flower beds and everything, it all looks great. When you turn the corner to the right, I want it to look a little bit weathered, very different, like things have took a bit of a darker turn around there. So I can't wait to see all your comments this week and see what you come up with, and like I say, a name for the ride as well would be fantastic. So likewise, get your suggestions coming in. Of course, if you do get picked for your name, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'll go for that story, because I might think that a name what someone else has come up with, you know, might fit the story what another person's picked. So you know, it all depends, or you know, it might all come together as one and someone's come up with an amazing story and name. So yeah, I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Anyway, whilst I'm carrying on with the build just here and putting all the walls and doors and all that sort of stuff together, me and Charlotte, like I say, we did just come back from Florida, and lots of different videos have already come online. It seems like our day one vlog from Universal Orlando Resort is the one that everyone's really enjoyed so far. Check it out if you've not seen it. But it's both of our first reactions to Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, that new Harry Potter themed coaster that we both really enjoyed. We've got on-ride footage that we was allowed to capture as well, which is great. We actually got permission on a later visit to be able to film it, which is good. So make sure you check that out, and also our full review. But along with that, it was Charlotte's first time seeing all of Universal, riding on some of the other Harry Potter attractions there, like the Forbidden Journey ride, along with that Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts. So all of her first reactions to that, along with just seeing the general parks. I mean, we spent most of that vlog at Islands of Adventure, so she rides the Hulk, Spider-Man, Jurassic Park, Skull Island, Reign of Kong, you know, loads of different stuff. So it's well worth checking out. Along with that as well, we've got our vlogs on from Halloween Horror Nights. There'll be a second one coming in a few weeks as well. Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, that's online. A couple of days ago as well, we had our vlog from Animal Kingdom. And yeah, coming up over the next few days, there's going to be more vlogs, including SeaWorld. That's coming up tomorrow. Along with that, we've then got Magic Kingdom, all the other Disney parks, another vlog from Universal, Busch Gardens, Fun Spot, and so much more. So make sure you stay tuned for those. They're all going into a playlist called Florida 2019, and also the Disney vlogs will be going into our Disney parks playlist, where you can see all our different Disney vlogs from all the different Disney parks all across the world. So make sure you check those out. As you can see here, just left the castle for a little bit now, just starting to put in some of the rocks and landscaping all around the overbank there, and shortly around the rest of the coaster as well. It's going to be a lot of trees and stuff around this ride, like you're going through the forest, so bear that in mind when you're coming up with any suggestions for the name or the overall story for this ride. And as you can see here, it's just about making sure that all the areas look quite full. You know me, I don't really like leaving areas too blank. I want to make sure that it does look quite full. You can start to get an idea now as well on the viewing area for a lake show that will be happening at some point in the future. I'm going to build a lake show which is going to incorporate all sorts of different effects, including fountains, screens and fireworks on the lake. And yeah, there's actually a path that I've put in just behind the coaster. That will be part of the viewing area. There's going to be a few different viewing areas all around the waterfront, along with some a bit further back. Some restaurants are going to be designed with rooftop terrace, so you can look out over the lake and see the show. So yeah, that's all started to go in terms of that back path that you can see there along closest to the waterfront. Just putting in some landscaping all down the back here. Not going in too heavy with different buildings and stuff around this. Part of the story I'm expecting you guys to come up with is incorporating the forest into it. I know you guys are more than capable. You're brilliant with this sort of stuff. And obviously with it being a castle, it hasn't really got like loads of outbuildings and stuff. I mean, you know, it's all mostly contained within the castle walls, isn't it? So I thought, let's have it that, you know, whatever's happened here, this contraption or spell or whatever's happened, it sort of took you out of the castle, and you know, you're going into the forest down here as well. And the good thing is, all this part of the ride is hidden from guests walking through the park, because it's all around the back there of the entrance street. You won't be able to see it at all from there, and then all you're going to see really is the overbank and a couple of sections closest to the path that side of the train track. Really, the rest of it's very much hidden all in the trees in that forest that I've just been building, so keeps a bit of a surprise mystery element to it. Again, you'll notice that I do keep zooming out every so often. This is just to see how it looks on the sight lines. You know me, I'm a bit obsessed with sight lines and how things look from other areas and that sort of stuff. So just making sure that it doesn't look too intrusive on what I've built so far, really, in terms of the entrance street, and making sure it all does fit together. Because as much as, you know, it's a very different style set of buildings we've done here compared to the entrance, it does all come together with the theme of the United Kingdom. Anyway, I'm going to leave you for a few minutes, enjoy me do some more landscaping just here, then I'll come back to you and we'll talk more about the park and the future of this project. So now that most of the landscaping is done around the roller coaster itself, it's time to start adding in some of the smaller details onto the castle building. This includes various different wooden panels that you can see I'm putting on here, and then shortly we'll move on to the doors, windows, and then giving it a weathered effect. The plan is to actually add lots of the plants that sort of crawl up the side of the buildings, like the climber plants, because I feel like they'll give it a nice weathered effect all the way throughout. But yeah, it does look really good so far. I'm pleased with it. In terms of how it looks compared to the rest of this area, you know, it's got a much darker feel. You've got all the white buildings, all over part of the entrance street, then you come around the corner and you've got like all of the castle, all them darker colours, and yeah, I think it looks really good. In terms of down from guest level as well, I was just having a look at that, and you know, I think it looks great from down at the guest level, looking over towards the castle, especially with this overbank. I mean, that and the lift hill, they're the two main parts that you see from the path when you take a right turn and walk around the corner towards it. But yeah, really pleased with how that looks. Here you can see I'm just looking at various different doors and windows to actually put onto the castle itself, putting them all on there just to fill in some of the gaps, really. I mean, I don't want to go overkill and put too many in, but you've got to think there still needs to be a fair amount of extra scenery items on there as well, just to fill in some of the gaps. The good thing about the design of this castle is that it's not like a big square. You know, it's got a bit of shape to it in terms of it's got the turrets in weird places and stuff. I haven't sort of done it all very symmetrical, and that was done on purpose, just so it looks a bit more natural and less like a piece of theming. You know, I didn't sort of want to go in and make the castle like, you know, have turrets on the four corners and have it all look very neat and tidy. The idea with this was to go a bit of a, you know, a different style with that, like a real castle normally would be, actually. Just little random parts. And if you look like Alton Towers, for example, as much as that's not a castle and it's a ruin of a stately home. In terms of how some of it was designed with the turrets and watchtowers and that sort of thing, it was very much added on and changed to over time. That's kind of what I'm going with the look of this here as well. Obviously, Alton Towers is real, and this isn't. This is actually a piece of theming that's been built for the park. But it is amazing when you think about Alton Towers as the ruins, the fact that the park was all built around that. It's incredible. It's my home park. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of that. And I've got a lot of respect for the history of that park. I really have. As you can see, they're now starting to put the wall climbers on there, just to give it that older feel to it now. That, yes, there's someone still living in there, but, he's letting this castle get all overgrown and, fit in with that darker theme. And like I say, nothing too dark, but just enough it needs to be to fit with what we've done just here. You can imagine what I can do with the lighting here as well. I mean, I'm going to come back to the lighting on this in a future episode and work on it quite a bit. Initially, it's more getting the coaster in place, the theme in, a couple of the areas, so we can then go back to it and work on the lighting. Same with audio as well. A lot of people have mentioned, I never really work on the audio side to these. Well, with this park, with it being a huge project, something that I'm planning to work on for the foreseeable future, then yes, I am going to be adding audio throughout the park. That'll be in queue lines, around ride areas, and just adding to the overall general feel of this park. But as you can see, we are coming to the end of episode 4. Very much hope you've enjoyed it. It's great to be back with another Planet Coaster series, and I can't believe we're a month into it already. Crazy. Like I said, there'll be a new episode posted at least every week. I know that they have been posted every Wednesday actually. However, they're not set in stone for that day. I tried to upload them on a Wednesday just to make it a bit easier if possible. However, if another video sort of takes priority, then it might be like the Thursday or the Friday, for example. But there'll be at least one new episode posted to Theme Park Worldwide of this series every week. I can't wait to read your comments. I'm really, really excited. So over the next week, I'll be looking through them, and in the next episode, number 5, along with carrying on with the build and working on some of the landscaping to the left of the screen there, where you can see you've got the carousel, the vintage cars, some more details on the back of the entrance buildings. I'll also be naming and reading out a storyline for this ride that you guys have come up with. So thank you very much for joining me for another episode of Let's Play Planet Coaster here on Theme Park Worldwide. Like I say, now I'm back from Florida. The series are being recorded every week. A few of them have been pre-recorded whilst we're away on our trip. So now's the time for it to start getting really interactive. The entrance has been built. Now it's the first coaster. It's up to you guys now to start suggesting rides, names, themes, storylines, and so much more. And you can see there a real-time look at the coaster going round and a little fire effect as well. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Sean Sandbrook, and that means it's time to cue those credits. See you in episode 5.